Hello guys, John here. In this video I will recap a movie titled Tucker and Dale vs. Evil which was released in 2010. Without a lot of spoilers at the beginning, let's get into the movie. Allison and 8 of her friends decide to enjoy a vacation by camping in the middle of the forest. While they were on their way, Chuck, who was the driver at that time, almost hit a car parked on the side of the road. Shortly thereafter, the car that was almost hit by them began to overtake their car from behind. Inside the car were 2 spooky-faced people who looked at them blankly, but didn't say a word. So, Allison and her friends were frightened by the 2 men. After a long trip, the 9 young people decided to stop at a convenience store to shop for various needs for camping. Allison and Chad entered the convenience store to shop. And coincidentally, the 2 of them met Tucker, one of the 2 people they almost hit on the trip earlier. However, Tucker simply looked at them without saying anything. While walking around in the convenience store, there was a man who was watching Allison. That man was Dale. That was also the man who was staring at them with an empty glance on the trip earlier. Tucker and Dale may look creepy, but it's actually just their outward appearance. Dale was still looking towards Allison from a distance. Actually, Dale only wanted to get acquainted with Allison, but he wasn't confident and didn't have the experience to get acquainted with a woman. He told Tucker, "It's impossible if a city girl like her wants to get acquainted with a country guy like me." As a good friend, Tucker reminded Dale to be more confident. Tucker also gave Dale tips to always smile when talking to a woman. After gathering courage, Dale walked up to Allison to get her acquainted. But because Dale was nervous, Dale forgot that he was carrying a lawnmower scythe in his hand. Dale asked if you guys would like to camp in the woods tonight, smiling and laughing. Seeing Dale carrying a scythe, smiling and laughing like a psychopath, Allison and her entourage ran away in fear. Actually, Tucker and Dale are on their way because they plan to renovate the cabin they just bought in the middle of the forest. Although on the way they were stopped by the police because the lights of their car were damaged, they finally arrived at the location of their cabin. After entering, it was seen that the condition of the room inside the cabin was very messy and filled with cobwebs. But strangely, there is one wall filled with newspaper pieces that discuss the serial murder case that occurred near the location of the cabin. While checking the condition of the room suddenly, Tucker almost died silly because of one of the cabin support poles was broken, but fortunately Dale quickly saved it. Meanwhile, in another place, Allison and her friends had already set up a tent and relaxed near the campfire. Chad then told his friends that 20 years ago there was a massacre in the forest where they are camping today. The victims were also college children who were the same age as them. Only one person survived the incident, while the bodies of the other victims were not found. But before Chad finishes the story, Mike suddenly comes and says that he found a lake not far from this place. Hearing that, they finally all decided to swim in that lake. As it turned out, Tucker and Dale were fishing in the same lake at the same time. They were both actually upset because the fish in the lake ran away because of the actions of those who were swimming. Then the 2 of them intend to warn Allison and her friends. But Allison, who was changing clothes, was shocked when she saw the 2 of them, so accidentally her head was hit and then drowned. Tucker and Dale panic because Allison doesn't come to the surface. Eventually they both tried to save her by bringing a fainted Allison onto their boat. The incident turns out to be witnessed by Allison's other friends, and this is where a misunderstanding occurs, as if Tucker and Dale were abducting an unconscious Allison. They ended up running scared. The next day, Allison regained consciousness. She panicked because she woke up in an unkempt house. Then, Dale approached her by giving her a plate of sandwiches, but Allison was surprised and scared. Dale apologized for taking Allison to his cabin. And finally Dale tells Allison the real incident, that last night she drowned and Dale had saved her. Dale also meets Allison's friends, but they run away in fear. Allison was a little relieved to hear Dale's story because she and her friends thought Tucker and Dale were bad people. On the other hand, Chad and his friend managed to find Tucker and Dale's cabin. He asked Chuck about last night's incident. But the problem is, Chuck was drunk last night. Chuck then said that it seemed like someone had eaten Allison alive. In fact, what actually happened was that Dale tried to give an artificial breath to save Allison, who drowned. After hearing Chuck's story, they get goosebumps and scares, but not Chad. He insists on beating Tucker and Dale alone. Chad then tells Mitch to distract Tucker, who was outside at the time. Tucker actually intended to cut the tree trunk to repair the pillar of the house that nearly killed him yesterday. But accidentally, the chainsaw cut the beehive contained in the trunk of the tree. Of course, Tucker immediately ran because he was chased by a bunch of wasps. Seeing Tucker, who suddenly ran and shouted carrying a chainsaw, they all immediately ran everywhere. Mitch runs into the woods alone, thinking Tucker is chasing him. After Tucker passed him, he only realized that Tucker ran because he was chased by wasps. However, because he was too focused on seeing Tucker, by accident, he was pierced by a pointed log and ended up dying silly. In the cabin, Dale and Allison were playing cards. Tucker suddenly came in with a swollen face from being stung by a wasp. Tucker told Allison, "I saw your friends near this cabin, but they also ran away because they were chased by wasps." On the other hand, Chad and the others find Mitch dead with terrible conditions. They think that Tucker has killed Mitch. Tucker and Dale intend later to find Allison's friends, but due to not meeting them eventually, Tucker and Dale write a message on the log. It turned out that Allison's friends were hiding out of fear, and finally they came to see the message written on the log. Instead of things getting better, they consider Tucker and Dale to have taken Allison captive. Meanwhile, Tucker and Dale resume their work. Allison then comes out intending to help Dale dig the ground. From a distance, his friends think that Dale is forcing Allison to dig her own grave. Eventually they tried to attack Tucker and Dale. From a distance, one of Allison's friends ran towards Dale while carrying a wooden spear. Allison tries to warn Dale, but Allison is accidentally hit by a shovel carried by Dale, so they both fall. And unintentionally, her friend's leg also tripped, and in the end he was pierced by his own wooden spear. On the other hand, Mike also ran towards Tucker, who was destroying wood at the time. When he wants to catch Tucker, he accidentally gets into a wood crushing machine. Of course, Tucker was shocked and tried to get him out. Upon returning to the cabin, they both panicked and they thought something was wrong with these teenagers. Tucker thought the teenagers were members of a cult that was trying to commit mass suicide. After getting a report from Chad, the sheriff comes to their cabin. But when the sheriff arrived, Tucker and Dale were carrying Mike's body into the machine to be buried. Tucker tries to explain to the sheriff that these children are members of a cult that is trying to commit mass suicide in the woods. The sheriff then went inside the cottage to check on Allison's unconscious condition. However, while they were chatting, he accidentally leaned against the pillar of the house that had been damaged. His head was pierced by a board filled with nails like Tucker almost experienced at the beginning. In a limp state, the sheriff tried to get out and returned to his car to report the incident over the radio. The teenagers misunderstand and think Tucker and Dale have killed the sheriff. Chuck took the initiative to take the sheriff's gun, but he didn't know how to use it. Innocently, Tucker tells Chuck to pull the trigger first. But accidentally he shot himself in the head. Tucker and Dale entered the cabin while lying down after Chad picked up the gun and continued shooting at them. Dale gets even more upset after finding out that Chad has been holding his beloved dog. Dale then picks up the nail shooter's gun and fires it at those teenagers to distract, while Tucker attempts to free Dale's beloved dog. But unfortunately, Tucker was caught by those teenagers, and in the end Tucker was hanged with his body upside down. On the other hand, Allison was already conscious of her fainting. She was surprised to see a corpse lying in front of the cabin. When she came out, Allison found a package containing a piece of Tucker's finger. Seeing that, Dale insists on going out and saving Tucker. After almost a day of searching, Dale finally found Tucker, who was hanged in reverse, but suddenly, Dale is almost hit by a trap and Dale immediately saves Tucker. Knowing the cabin is empty, opportunity is used by Chad and his friends to save Allison and intend to burn the cabin down. But Allison tries to stop them and convinces her friends that Tucker and Dale aren't bad people. Hearing that, her friends thought that Allison had fallen in love with the psychopath. When Chad is about to hurt Allison, it's fortunate Tucker and Dale come along. Allison asked them all to sit down to talk about this. Chad also said that his father was actually one of the victims of the mass massacre that occurred in this forest. And according to the story told by his grandmother, Chad's mother was the only one who survived the massacre, and at that time Chad's mother was pregnant with him. Meanwhile, there are two teenagers who suddenly enter and try to attack Tucker with a lawnmower, but instead hit his own friend. Chad then throws the incandescent lamp, but it hits his friend too. Seeing the chaos that was happening, Chloe casually smoked a cigarette to stay calm. She didn't realize that beside him was a pile of drums filled with fuel. Seeing this, Tucker, Dale and Allison immediately ran out and soon the cabin exploded and caught fire. At first, they thought that it was all over. But as it turned out, Chad survived and was still alive with half his face burned. They were scared and fled in a car. But due to the dark conditions of the night, Dale, who was driving, accidentally hit a tree. Moments later, when Dale woke up, Tucker and Allison had disappeared. Turns out, Tucker was leaning near a tree in a dying condition. Tucker tells Dale to save Allison, who has been taken away by Chad. Dale, who is helped by his dog, finally finds a woodcutting house. Inside the house, Chad tied Allison to the woodcutter. But while trying to save Allison, Chad immediately started the woodcutter. Dale must also try to untie the knot so Allison doesn't die. But suddenly, Chad came and attacked Dale. Fortunately, Dale, who was stronger than he, was able to defeat Chad and immediately save Allison. They were hiding in a room, and Allison accidentally found an old newspaper. The paper said that the killer who carried out the massacre 20 years ago had been caught. And strangely enough, the suspect has a face that looks like Chad. Allison was reminded by Chad's story that her mother was pregnant when this incident occurred and her father's body could not be found. Finally, the truth is revealed. The killer turned out to have raped Chad's mother until she became pregnant. Whereas Chad's father is not real because his grandmother made up stories to cover up the truth. Not long after, Chad came in with a chainsaw. Dale tries to convince Chad that this killer in the jungle is his real father. However, Chad is getting angrier because he doesn't want to have a murderous father. Dale used the opportunity to throw sawdust in Chad's face, which made him unable to see. In the end, Chad fell from his place and ended up dead. Long story short, Tucker, who was treated for his condition, slowly began to improve. Tucker had also found his missing finger, but it wasn't his finger because it had nail polish on it. But Tucker liked the finger and Dale was happy too. After the incident in the woods, Dale becomes more confident and tries to ask Allison out on a date. Turns out, Allison also has special feelings for Dale. And the movie is finished. If you like this channel, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support this channel. Thanks for watching this video until the end. See you in the next video.